Hey, home theater nerds, welcome to the Bright Side Home Theater Podcast. A home theater podcast that's all about the experiences, the sights,
the sounds,
the scenes.
And the polls have closed.
Well,
do you have a poll for the 24-hour show? Are you going to be like 23 hours late to that?
Yeah. Oh,
it'd just be like 1 hour and be done.
Yeah. No, I actually, yeah, you're right. I got to be on time for that because otherwise I won't get my 25 hours in. You don't want to be working overtime on Sunday morning and be like, oh, I started 5 minutes late, so I got to go 5 minutes longer. Somebody get Brett up off the floor. Keep me awake.
Scrape him up.
Yeah, good call, John. Yeah, I gotta get my crap together here. I gotta go 25 hours. I can't get this to go 2 anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought, we put out a poll, and like John said just before we started, hey, this is the earliest we've started in a while. So it was something. We're going in the right direction, right, guys?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking of cool stuff, Deej, what have you got in your ears?
Well, a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah, but what's that? That's something new.
Yeah. I grabbed these for the 24-hour show because the headphones I was using, I grabbed the Shure 215s. Funny you noticed the box just happened to be sitting here. Yeah, because wearing the over-the-ear ones that long, it really just it starts to play with your head, and it's like you get headaches and stuff. So these are a little bit more comfortable, easier to use. The only thing is I got to get an extension for them because the cable's a lot shorter. So it if I move in 25 hours, I'm going to be kind of moving around. They're harder to take off and on though. So bathroom breaks might take me a little longer because the other ones you go, they're on. These ones you got to fit them in because
just unplug it and take the cord with you. I mean,
not the microphone.
Leave them in your ears, unplug them, stick the cord in your pocket, and move on.
John, you're so smart.
Hey, I've done this before.
Damn. All right. I like it. All right. Solve that problem. Check that off the list. It's
I don't know if it was
list.
I don't know if it was me, Deej, man. I thought perhaps we've gone upscale. I thought you had a gallery somewhere, and they were sort of feeding you instructions.
He's getting the questions for the debate 5 minutes.
Exactly. No, just something to I wanted, what's so funny? It's I wanted to get these last year before the 24-hour show. And I just kept, me, I keep looking and shopping and oh, man, these ones are even more, but these are nicer. These are better. These are this. And then finally I went to Guitar Center around here and I walked in and I was like, do you have the in-ear? And he's like, yeah, we have the Shure 215s. And I was like, all right. I'd seen them online and they're $100. And I go, what's the one up above that? Because you can't just
216.
No, yeah, it's I think it's 315s or whatever, right? And I go, and the guy behind the counter is like, so what do you use them for? I go, podcasting. He goes, yeah, don't bother. He goes, because higher up is just more bass. He goes, if you're a bassist or a drummer, you might want them because you'll hear the bass better. And I was like, oh, and he goes, yeah, just if you're a vocalist or something, it's not, maybe, you don't need them. And he goes, and if you're just podcasting, yeah, don't worry. He goes, these are more than enough. And I was like, all right, just save me $100 because I think the step up was another 100. So it pays to not shop online because online I probably would have got something for $800. I'm like, these are the best things ever. I don't know.
And they might have been, but
yeah.
Just overkill.
If you've gone for the vocalist ones, Deej, when are we going to get your rendition of Country Road? Then we're waiting. We're all eager to hear it.
Yeah, I don't sing.
I don't sing.
I don't sing.
All right. Well, if you have to rap it, that's fine. We're not going to worry about that.
No, I don't sing.
That's your job, Steve.
I don't rap. I don't. It's isn't it enough I talk? Don't I do that enough to compensate for any kind of anything else? I mean, people are trying to get me to shut up.
That's
Steve's
above
trying
and
to get me
beyond,
to
really.
sing. What was that, John?
So that's above and beyond, really, if you ask me.
Oh yeah, exactly. Um,
Don't let him off the hook, John. Come on, we got him right where we want him.
Nope. 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 Nope.
I don't sing.
I am not singing. I am not a singer.
Machete don't sing.
Yeah. Or text.
So, yeah, exactly. I'll text you a tune.
All right, should we say hi to everyone that's in the chat?
From Nantucket. What was that?
Should we say hi to everyone in the chat then? Say hi, because there's actually a fair few in already, in fairness.
Yeah. Please do.
First in was Steve George, whoever that is. Obviously a gentleman of rare taste. Refinement. We've got Brightside Home Theatre, whoever they are. In, and we're back in because Steve's at it's upgrade day for Steve at apparently. Which is kind of cool. So hi, Steve. Mikey's in, basking in the glow of guessing right in the poll. Graham Cole's in. Hi, Graham. Haven't seen you for a bit. Good to see you. Fred's in. Hey, Fred. TSG's in, of course, as usual. The local boy. Andrew Panner's in. Hi, Andrew. Dom's in again. Bonsoir. And we've got, and then Bill McAllister's in as well, and Johnny Speakers too. Sorry, John missed you there. So everyone present and correct. Looks like our side of the pond might have missed the earlier start because, of course, our clocks have gone back. Yours haven't. So I'm only 4 hours ahead of you instead of 5 at the moment, which is why I'm a little bit more awake than normal, which is great news. So if there's extra cheek tonight, that's why.
We're in trouble.
You could be. Just get ready with the language button.
Where is that?
Just doesn't even know where it is anymore. It's been so long.
I haven't used that. Oh, there it is.
Language.
There we go.
There we go. Right, good. You got it ready to go on a 5-second delay.
Yeah. Oh, Johnny Speakers testing it out. There we go.
There we go. Perfect segue, Deej. Take it away.
Yeah. Nice. We got that. We got that up and running. Thanks, Johnny Speakers. $4.99 super chat. What is that? A super chat? Is that what they call them now? I don't know. It just highlights it. In
Kids
green.
today.
Kids today. You know. Thanks. Let's see. How do we show? There we go. There it is. Takeover Tuesdays. 2 weeks in a row. The world is getting back to normal. Yeah, we're trying. There will be one again next week, guaranteed. I'll either take a clip from the 25-hour show, or I'll put Todd and I up, whatever we do tomorrow night, something like that. Or I don't know. Maybe I'll do something else. Because after 25 hours of talking, I might want to talk a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yes, Johnny, thanks for hitting the button there. It's I jumped through all the hoops trying to get this thing up and running and monetize it back again. They were like, we were talking before the show. I gotta do something else. They told me I was all set, and then just before the show, I got an email. You're not all set. And I'm like, all right. And it's all tax crap and everything, but finally figured it out. Got the monetization back up just in time for. Here we go. Movember. The big reason we're doing everything this week and these past 2 months. Raising money for Movember. So Johnny Speakers here with the first $5 from YouTube going towards Movember. And so we actually got a nice jump start from last year too. There's some money left over in there that I'm just going to put to this year. It actually went last year too, because I just said, I just paid it with my American Express, paid all the money, then just paid myself back. And then this didn't pay me back. So screw it. I'll send the money that's sitting there. That goes to this year too. So I think we're like $130, and now Johnny Speakers is $5, so $135, and then plus the money we get from Patreon each month, which is like about $200 and something. So there we go. We're already at $4 or $5. We're getting there. So we're over $500 already going to them, going to Movember. So let's see if we can get that number even more. Again, boxes of popcorn, patrons are already there. So if you become a patron in the next month, that money will go towards it too. And then we have the Patreon only after show coming up at 7:00 Eastern time, which was awesome last week. We had quite a few people, Dom being one of them. And I single him out because he's in France and he's 5 hours ahead of me. So when we were done, it was like he stayed on for over an hour. So I think he got off listening to me talk until 2 a.m. or something like that, which is.
Did you want to rephrase that, Deej? I'm not sure someone's saying they
know.
got off listening to you talk.
Yeah. Language. There we go. See, when you talk this much, you're going to say some stupid things. So, let's see. So he hung up at around 2 a.m. after listening to me talk.
Lol.
Tom. There's Dom. Tom. Whoops. LOL. So I have a feeling Dom isn't going to show up tonight.
Well, just to hear you talk.
Yeah, no, or hang up. Whatever he's going to do. I don't know. All right. I'm blushing, and we're like 10 minutes into the show. All right. Good for me. So, yeah. So Ryan Davey, we got some money coming towards you already, buddy. And he will be on the show as well, as will Rich Keefe. From #Dork. We got a bunch of other people lined up. A lot of the regulars from a lot of the people from last year, and any listeners. I said in today's Takeover Tuesday, any listeners that want to get on, I'll try to get everybody fit in. I might double people up if I get too many or something like we did last year. But just hit me up this week, and we'll start scheduling and dropping people in. I still have a few other people I'm trying to drop, like time zone stuff and everything. So we'll start dropping everybody in, and let me know if you want to be part of it. Email me at dj@brightsidehometheater.com, and we'll get that schedule filled out. You guys are going to be in, right?
Yeah. Are we going to have our time slots this time, or are we going to just drop in when we're in the mood?
Well, you guys can drop in whenever you want.
Oh, cool.
I mean, I can put you in a time slot as we get, like we did last year, just if there's a gap or something like that. But it's because I just want to make sure every hour is at least filled. That way I'm not like hoping somebody shows up.
It's not going to be a problem, Deej.
Yeah, well,
you're going to be kicking people out. There's going to be a line down the block.
I don't know about that.
Like a red carpet and a thing across and bouncers on the door.
Yeah.
Name's not down. You're not coming in.
Yeah. Yep. So, but yeah, so I just got to get that all organized and stuff like that. But really looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. As much fun as it is doing the show, it was so much. It really was so much fun, even after Sunday morning. Hey, what's up, Travis? Talked to Travis this week too. Haven't talked to Travis in a while, and I was like, oh my god! And it's like. It's funny, kind of like brothers like that. Like we don't talk forever, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh hey, you coming on the show? He's like, yeah. And but yeah. Anyways, the after the show, there's like a high after that. It's like you've talked for 25 hours straight, and then you hang up, and all you want to do is talk about it. I just talked for 25 hours. Then you like your head hits the pillow, and you're like, and I was up at 11, and I just wanted to go out to the world and be like, how was your day? Well, I just talked for 25 hours straight. Oh, crap. He's never going to shut up now. So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. So, really, really looking forward to it. Eddie, talk to Eddie. Oh, Eddie and I got to hook up with Eddie about some stuff for this weekend, too. So, Eddie's in the chat. Meant to hit him up yesterday and today. And as Travis just said, life gets in the way, but buddies are always buddies. Yep. So yeah, so same with Eddie. I'll hit you up maybe tomorrow, hopefully. So and Eddie says, "Yep, exactly." So, all right,
we got a new guy in. Benny?
I think so. Yeah, Benny.
Yeah. Hey, Benny.
Hey,
Benny. Or nice to see you. Yeah, good man. Liking the picture. That's a very cool picture. Look at that.
What is the picture? I can't tell.
It's a guy with a guitar. Maybe he can help you with your earplugs, Deej. You can.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, all I see is a little icon. I can't. It doesn't blow up.
Oh, do you not get it? Do you not get a? It's quite cool when I show it on mine. I get the pictures like quite big.
Really?
It's changed again. This is the update. Yeah.
These are small.
No, I just on my side, I just have like the little icon next to it.
Oh, I've got the picture. The picture comes up as well, and it's not far off the side. Probably about half the size of our boxes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, mine's not that. I see the picture, but it's
on the
small.
screen. You mean? On my screen, because I'm in a vertical mode right now, because I have one, so I can see the chat on one side, I can see us, and I have everything there. I can. That's why everything's small. Even us, we're really small, but I don't really care what we look like. I just want to make sure we're there.
Hey.
For a second, I thought it was Wayne. I thought it was Mike Myers.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Wayne. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, looking funny. So, let's see. Anything else?
No, I think we're hot to trot. We've got plenty to go through. We've
okay.
So
we're still gonna do the show. Okay, cool.
Well, we can talk earplugs all night long.
Earplugs.
You realize though, Deej, Todd's going to have something to say about that, of course, because he's always reviewing in-ear earphones,
in-ear, over-ear. Yeah.
So he'll want to have been consulted about that. You're, you don't want to have upset him.
I know he'll get mad. Travis will get mad at me. Travis does the same thing. He reviews that stuff, and it's like people. And the fact I didn't reach out to them and ask their opinion, I'm in trouble.
Outrageous.
So you know what we're going to be doing? Well, either tomorrow night on the live show, on the pre-show, or first thing Saturday morning. Todd's just going to come at me and start yelling at me because that's what he's like, you know.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to upset him probably before you when I talk about a particular film a bit later. That is Todd's film of the year. Literally, I've got a bit of a different view.
Yeah. Todd and I had a conversation. Todd's been great. What's that?
I said curious.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I don't pay that much attention.
In the Takeover Tuesday today, I thanked everybody that reached out to me about what's going on and stuff. And Todd's one of those people that obviously behind the scenes probably knows a lot more. I know he knows a lot more because I told him, but since hearing about all this, he's like every day he's reached out to me. You doing okay? You doing okay, buddy? He's like, take it over you. You doing okay? And then I think it was, I don't know what it was, Saturday morning, maybe, I think it was. And I was up early and looking at projectors and thinking about stuff. And I texted him about the projector that was in sound room, like 7 a.m. on Saturday morning. I texted him about the projector that was in sound room floor 4. I'm like, hey, buddy, I go, what was the model, Christie model that was in the room? And he comes back and we have a discussion about it. We go back and forth. And by 8 a.m. and he goes, random Saturday morning, 8 a.m. and you're texting me about a Christie projector. He's like, what's wrong? He goes, and I was like, yeah, just trying to, get rid of it, step away from my reality a little bit. And he goes, yeah, I understand. I go, what's more unrealistic than $120,000 projector?
Yeah.
He's cracking up. But I was like, hey, it takes my mind off of things. Oh God. But yeah, he was great. And we talked about the money and stuff like that. Obviously we're doing everything for November till the end of the month. We have another charity coming up in December that's probably, we'll be raising money in December as well. And we'll talk more about that later. But pretty important charity that you guys are gonna know about. I mean, I'm sure we all know about it, but we'll mention more about that then. So let's see. Yeah. And Gurinder. Yeah, thanks, buddy. He said the talk with Brett was very therapeutic. Absolutely it was. Helps you keep everything in perspective. So, and to get it out there for everybody, it helps me because makes me, like, yeah, all right, I am a little bit crazy, but yeah, we're allowed to be. So
a problem shared is a problem halved.
Yep. Well, hey, look at you. All right. On that note,
we're
out of here.
I'm not going to claim I wrote that.
What the hell was that?
Man, you should have taken credit.
Well, damn right now. Can we just reverse that again, Deej? Let's go back.
Yeah. Here we go. Look at that. We got sounders go. Oh, we're getting all up and rehearsed for Saturday. Saturday morning. I'm going to be late. 10 a.m. Sorry.
10 p.m.
Yeah.
Overslept.
Oops. Overslept. Oh, well.
I forgot to set my clock back.
Yeah. That wasn't happening yet. Oh, all right. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
Any requests on what you guys want to start with first?
No,
as always, just spin the wheel. Spin the wheel. Although,
wheel.
Presumably, the only thing I would say is it's still Halloween, season
absolutely.
of the witch and all that. So we might want to just stick with horror films. I've got a couple in there that are not horror films, but see how you go. I don't mind. I talk about it all. Doesn't matter.
All righty. Is this who's got that one?
Me.
That you want to start with that one?
Yeah, can do. Yeah.
And you have the part 2 too.
I
right?
do. Yep. That's
right.
unfortunately again, it's another poster. Sorry.
That's okay.
All right.
All right. Here we go. Let's hit this then. Where'd it go?
Okay, so someone earlier, can't remember who, was mildly expressing unhappiness at double dipping, but never mind. This is Smile.
Who was that?
Yeah, I got no clue. John Brock.
Yeah.
We blame him for everything. It's fine. So this is the 4K UHD Dolby Atmos Smile. And yes, I have done this on the show before. Yes, it was last Halloween. But I had to see this again because Smile 2 was coming out and I had the chance to see it. And so I wanted to revisit this first because I remember loving this. See, look, it's good that he accepts when we blame him. This is what I like. Well
exactly.
done. Thanks, Steve, John, Steve.
Yeah. He accepts when we blame him. He hates it when we give credit to somebody else and it was him.
Yes.
That's where we
get his name right.
Yeah, exactly. This guy named Steve told me about this movie and he's, oh my God. Still haven't heard the end of it.
Oh yeah. So this is, as I say, Smile, and I remember really enjoying this when I first saw it last year, and in the getting ready for the sequel, I revisited this, and it's still very good indeed. This film is great. This is one you weren't a big fan of, John. Is that right? If I remember rightly?
I didn't love this movie, but I am kind of keen to see the second one because I've heard really good things about it. So I'm interested to hear what you have to say.
Yeah. So I mean, I really did enjoy this. I just liked how kind of off the wall and off kilter it was as a movie. And the second time round was just as good. I didn't bear in mind it was a year ago, but I didn't kind of bump into any issues with it. It still got that kind of creepiness to it, this sort of vibe that's really clever. And there's very little, I think, scarier for me than a character looking at the camera and off camera. It's something you can't see. I think that kind of gets your imagination fired up, and it's something about that I just find really engaging. And there's quite a bit of that in this. So it's a great film, but the audio and video presentation on this is exceptional as well. I mean, just to highlight what we talked about last year. The video it's digitally shot. It's absolutely beautiful. Black to black, bright to bright. The colors look great. They leap off the screen. It's exactly what you want from a top-notch new 4K presentation. Well, new as of a year ago. But the Atmos track is what is the real standout winner here, because right from the beginning, you get, because obviously it's a horror film. Things are not quite as they seem. Things are not right here. And you get this little kind of, how do I describe it? I'm trying to think to myself how I describe it. It's this little sort of chittering, scratching noise that is supposed to be unsettling, and it is. And it creeps around the speakers in the room. So this little sort of sound goes right the way around the room, and it creeps up into the overheads, and it goes to rear left, and it goes across the back to rear right, comes back, and all of this whilst the camera is kind of going into Dutch angles and moving, and it's really effective and very unsettling. And it's for people like us that have got a system that can take advantage of it. You're watching this on a 2-channel stereo. That means nothing. In fact, you might not even hear it. Whereas when you've got a surround system and you've got it all fired up and at its decent levels, it is moving around the room, and it just feels like there's this presence, this thing that is in your room, which is kind of what the movie's about. So I really, really like this movie, and I love how it looks and sounds. This is one to see. I mean, John, remind me, mate, did you have the 4K disc, or did you see it streaming?
No, I watched it on Max or wherever it was last year. I don't know who put it out, but I streamed it.
Yeah, it'd be worth. I mean, I know that it might be worth a revisit, even if it's streaming now in Atmos. If it's on Netflix or Amazon and it's in Atmos, it'd be worth seeing it again, because you might find then that actually brings you into it more. But I just think this film is really good, and it was a great sort of taster for the second one, which I was fortunate enough to see. Do you want to go straight into that one? Yeah. Is that all right? Do you guys mind? Might as well. Okay. And so this then set me up ready to see Smile 2, which I saw on a screener. which is set. It's kind of a strange film in that it's set immediately after the first one, at least the opening, and then it jumps forward in to a certain extent by a few days. Oh, we lost Deej.
Yeah.
He's gone. We've lost him. He's gone. Right now we can talk. Right. So football then.
Do whatever you want. Yep.
This is Takeover Tuesday night.
Yeah. How about that game this week?
Yeah. How about that game? See the Bears game? Great game. Where's your other hand? Here he's back. Shh. Everyone, right? Come on. Shh, he's back.
The best part is I get to see all this like after. Like when I put the show together later, it's so funny. It's like I get it, and it is actually kind of fun because I get to come back in and be like, "Oh, that's what they were saying about me while I was gone." It's so great.
So where were we? Oh yeah, Smile 2.
I don't know. I was sliding buttons to the left and right.
But look, I've told you about not using Tinder while we're on air.
I know.
Oops. Oopsies. All right. Yeah. Caught. So Smile 2. So it does kind of take off immediately after the first one, and then there's a little bit of a jump forward. This is a very good sequel as a movie, and this basically carries on where the entity takes over a pop star. It's funny how these things are coming around. There's what, 3 of them this year. Is it? Trap has a story at in a concert. This is kind of a pop star that's taken over, and there's another one I think coming as well. Same sort of thing. So it's interesting how that's becoming a bit of a motif this year. I think Taylor Swift's got a lot to answer for. Yeah. It just seems to be kind of, it's in the psyche, isn't it, at the moment? So anyway, so the entity may or may not be haunting this particular pop star, who is a bit of a Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga kind of clone, and the film kind of goes from there. It's a fantastic sequel. It's really good, but boy, oh boy, do I feel sorry for the actress in this, who's Naomi Scott, she was Princess Jasmine in the live action Aladdin. So I'm told, and was in Charlie's Angels. So I'm told, the one with Kristen Stewart. Yeah. Again, so I'm told, thanks to IMDb. And I feel really sorry for her in this, because this movie, as much as we're going to talk about one later where perhaps an actress doesn't do very much in the role, in this particular one, this poor lady, I mean, I think she's in every scene after the initial opening. And she is, about Michael Bolton songs, right? The joke with Michael Bolton songs is they start at 1 and they go straight to 11, and they're at 11 throughout the entire song, right? That's what this is like. This is the filmic equivalent of that. So this poor actress goes from kind of, oh, am I haunted or not, to then this 11 emotion throughout the rest of the movie. She went through hell in this, because every scene is, I'm the most scared I've ever been, the most upset I've ever been. Oh, my world is in every scene. There's no kind of peaks and troughs. It's all like up here. Right. And so this poor woman, how she managed to maintain this for hour and 40 minutes, I do not know. And it's almost exhausting how much she goes through, but it's never less than entertaining. I mean, she's really good in it, but boy, oh boy, does she go through hell. So it's I really enjoyed it. It's great. It'll be a fantastic 4K disc when it hits, if it's anything like the first one. And again, sorry, that person earlier might double dip on it when the 4K disc comes out. Whoever that person was,
I don't know.
Very forgettable.
But but it's such a good film. This is a great sequel. It really is. And if you did like the first one, and if you revisit it and you do like it, then I highly recommend this, because it's great, and it's gory and it's violent and it's got all that stuff as well. Nothing like Terrifier 3, but it is gory and violent, and it's never less than interesting because of the sheer hell this poor woman's going through as part of this story. And when you see it, I think you'll see what I mean in terms of the emotional range is just right up here for the entire film. Right. But there we go. Yeah, so I definitely recommend it.
Neither of these, like the first movie, just did not appeal to me. I don't know what it was. No.
Or is it just kind of the idea of it?
The trailer, the everything about it, I just thought it was like, I don't know, gimmicky, or I don't know what I was thinking, but it just didn't, like, you know how I am with horror anyways. It's, and this one here was just like, nothing grabbed me out of the trailer for that. And I haven't heard anything bad about it since. I just feel like, you know, we're going to talk about one in a little bit that I was like, but it just never grabbed me. It's like, what can you give me, like, what's the basis? Like, what's the horror
I'm
here?
trying not to spoil it. The idea is, again, I'll try not to spoil it, although of course it only is taking off from the first one, which is a year old. So, you know, fingers in your ears, people, if you don't want to hear it. We'll wave when it comes up, you know. When it goes off the screen, you're all good.
Yeah,
those
the audio only people looking for the wave.
Yeah, it's the black and white one.
Yeah.
So so it's so the idea is that there is an entity. I hesitate to use the word demon because I think it's kind of silly. But anyway, there is an entity that possesses someone, and if that and the entity, after sort of 7 days or thereabouts, if makes the person who is possessed kill themselves. And if that person kills themselves in front of someone else, the entity then moves to that person.
To the next person.
Yeah. And so, and the story of the first one is there's a psychiatrist who's kind of at the end of her tether. She's not, not engaging. And she encounters one of the patients who does that right at the beginning. And she then becomes possessed by it. And it's about their lives falling apart. They're becoming possessed. What's going on? And the second one takes that just to another level of insanity. You know, my life, everyone, are they possessed or not? And the reason they smile is the demon, when it takes over someone, they just grin. They just smile at you in a kind of creepy grin. All right. All
right.
But it's
it's
gruesome.
Yeah. You just get taken over, right? Like it's like
and
the
you don't know what's
story,
real,
like something. You know? Yeah, exactly.
You know,
they've made millions of movies about it. And
but it is really worth seeing. I mean, I genuinely do recommend it. I mean, I appreciate, again, John, because John, absolutely clear about kind of just didn't kind of grab you, and I get that. But I seem to remember Todd really enjoying it as well, and I think generally it's been quite well received.
I've heard nothing but good about both of them. Really,
yeah, me too.
It's just something about these, Malignant. I kind of felt the same way about. Like, to me, they fall apart in the last act, and that's where these movies sometimes lose me.
Yeah,
I don't particularly remember the last act of Smile, so I'll have to go back and watch it again. I remember more not loving it than the actual movie itself, because I haven't watched it in a year, so I don't really recall. But yeah, to me, I always feel like the premise is there, and then they just kind of drop the ball on the 2-yard line,
they Leon Ledded it.
Yeah. So, but I'll definitely give it another shot, because I do want to see 2, because I've heard a lot of good things about that movie.
Yeah, so. I mean, as I said, it's an emotional. Well, it's not even a roller coaster, because a roller coaster goes up and down. This is it's not an emotional roller coaster. It's an emotional highway.
Yeah, exactly. Just gets you up there, and there's no dynamics. It's just all like boom up here. Oh man,
yeah. So it's very, very cool, and I really did enjoy watching them both again. And bearing in mind the sheer number of horror movies I watched this month, a lot. These ones stand out as being a really enjoyable time, both revisiting that one and then seeing the sequel. And I said, I can't wait for the 4K disc of Smile 2. Well, that's day one buy for me. Because again,
double, triple, quadruple dipping on you.
Yeah. And you'll be
and the show.
February.
Oh, yeah.
January, February, March.
Like, okay, so I watched Smile again, and then I watched Smile 2 4K. And poor Steve Brock is going to be going crazy.
Well, mate, Dom's just mentioned something in the chat, guys. I mean, it's not quite apropos to this, but it's worth mentioning, I think. So he says, do you guys buy Shout Scream Factory 4K discs? A friend of mine told me 6 discs stopped playing on his player, discs that definitely worked. And he says, I tried all of my 25 discs, and I've got one which stopped working, the movie Upgrade, and thinks that there's something to do with BD rot going on. Oh, well, I've got the 4K disc of Upgrade. I'll give it a try. It worked fine when I tried it a few weeks back or months ago.
I don't know that I have that many. What was Brotherhood of the Wolf? That was one. Was that?
It
might have been Arrow. I don't know. I'd have to look. But that might be the only one that I even have.
I mean, I've got loads of them. And I've got, I think the Happy Death Day 1 and 2 are shout for Happy Death Day.
Yeah.
1 and 2, and I think I've got a feeling the My Bloody Valentine is as well. Maybe old World War Z. I've got loads of them, so I'll try them out. I'm not encountered any issues. I'll let you know, Dom. I'll report back next week. We'll give it a go. Intrepid reporter Steve will investigate it.
Well, I'm wondering if what could have happened. What kind? There's so many variables to that. Like, what kind of player is doing this? Is it
what's the storage?
Yeah, was there an update to the players that what if you disconnect? Because if all of a sudden discs stop working randomly now because they got what's that? So literally, physical media is no different than streaming media. Now all of a sudden they can just cancel your disc.
It does seem.
Is that what we're insinuating here? What's going on?
Yeah,
there's a lot to uncover here. So that wouldn't be good. I mean, I know it's possible too. I mean, it definitely is possible, but I don't think that's what's going on. That's weird. Well,
I mean, I've had discs in the past, not many. In fact, you can always count them on one hand. Yeah. I've had discs in the past which. Go on, DJ.
Bill's saying in the chat, no issues on mine yet. So, I think mine. Just us saying this now, all of a sudden everybody's just going through the collection looking for every shout.
Have a look at two of them.
It's I don't know why, but all of a sudden shout videos have been playing like crazy all over the
world. But I did have an issue with one particular one, Starship Troopers. I remember used to skip when I first got it years ago. And then there was an update for the
randomly though, yeah.
Well, yeah, but then there was an update for the player and for the Oppo UDP 203, and it played perfectly. Okay. So I've had it go one way, but not the other. But I'll give it a try. I'll give it a I'll do it now, but I'll give it a try.
Yeah, exactly. Don't do it right now.
Yeah,
that wouldn't be good.
I'll be back.
All right, yeah.
We'll be back after these messages.
Exactly. Ooh, that'd be nice. Pee break. Brought to you by Depends. All right. John, you ready?
Sure.
All righty. Here we go.
All right, so continuing with the double dipping,
another
movie we've spoken about before on this show. This is the 4K disc of The Exorcist, which I know, Steve, you talked about last year, probably right around October.
I think so.
And so I bought this after that show, but had yet to watch it. I saved it for now, so I pulled it out and watched it. Now, you hadn't seen it before, but I've seen this movie, I don't want to say a number of times, but I've seen it at least 3 or 4 times in the past. But it's been many, many years since I've seen it. And I did watch the extended director's cut, which I would imagine is the first time I've ever seen that. I would be hard-pressed to tell you what was added to this movie, because it's been so long since I saw the original. Yeah. I don't know what the extra stuff was. But I did watch the extended director's cut of this. So disc-wise, I thought this was really, really good. I can't remember the movie I talked about a couple weeks ago that was a bit of an older movie too. And I sort of felt the same with this. Like, there were scenes here that were really, really nice, really sharp. And then there were some scenes that just didn't look as good. But overall, the presentation on this, I think, for a movie from 1973, I think they did a great job with the restoration. And this is a really good 4K disc. Again, I was 3 years old when this came out, so never saw this in the theater. This is obviously the biggest presentation I've ever seen of this movie. Never watched it with Dolby Atmos or anything like that. Sound wise, again, I thought it was nice. It didn't, it's not reference. It didn't blow me away, but it was really good. There's a lot of good surround effects. There's, things flying around the room and shooting out windows and, all kinds of things happening. And they do a pretty good job with that. So I think it's a solid disc overall and definitely worth owning. Movie itself, again, most of us have all seen this movie. I'm sure there's not anything for me to say about it. But, this movie always lived in my memory as, if anybody ever asked me what the scariest movie I ever saw was, it would always be The Exorcist. Like, it always lived in my memory as that. It is not that. This is more drama than anything at this point. Like, I guess it was very, I can't think of the word, but diffused, I guess, for me, partly because I've seen it a few times, but like, I really enjoyed watching it and I got into the story. This isn't a horror movie at this point, I don't think. It's just it's just a drama. I felt. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but again, I could see in 1973 where people were, hiding their faces and walking out of the theater and, just had never seen anything like this. But the shock that they put into this movie doesn't hold up in 2024. We've seen worse things on NCIS, on a Tuesday night. But again, it's a classic of cinema, right? It's definitely worth owning. This is a great disc. We're never going to get a better version of it. And I think it's something that I will still revisit now, probably every year now that I have it. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed watching it. So.
All right, Steve, should we revisit?
And take two.
I think, let's double dip.
Yeah.
I think John came right down, like he said everything we said. The two of us said. Right. And it was like, do you remember that, John? Like,
I don't remember. I remember, Steve, you liking the movie. You were afraid going into it that you had seen too much of it and you wouldn't enjoy it. And I do remember you liking the movie. I don't remember the specific comments on the quality of the disc.
I think,
though.
Yes. So Steve was saying it was reference picture. And I was like, what? And I came down like you. I was like, no, there's some great scenes. And I actually referenced a few of them, like the scene in the attic with the candle and like how great the HDR was with that. But then there were some other scenes that were just so grainy that I was like, what are you? And Steve and I went back and forth.
Okay.
And so listening to you this year is like, you came down right in the
middle.
Said exactly, which like,
well, that's me.
Well, you basically said what I was saying, but because Steve was so high on it seemed like I hated it. Right. So we had that great dynamic. That was Steve and I were dynamic. That last movie you was talking about, not so much. The character, not so much. Always on a high. Which is great because that was how this show originally started. Always on a high. DJ likes everything. Well, I bring you two in. It's like, here we go.
Well, and again, I'm not breaking any new ground here, but I mean, obviously you have to look at the age of a movie and how it was filmed and what they're able to do with a 4K restoration. I mean, nothing from 1973 is going to look as good as anything today, unless it's Lawrence of Arabia, right? Like that. Right. That's a standout visually, but most movies are going to have their things. And so you could say it's reference for a 1973 film, but
I think that's what I said.
But there are scenes that, again, what was it? Oh, it was Clint Eastwood. Unforgiven. What we were talking about. I was saying the same thing. Again, there were some really good scenes and then some that weren't so great. And I think this is the same.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But I think that the thing with this, though, as you also said, and I think kind of what we'd all agree on, we're finding common ground. There's so much division in the world at the moment. Let's find common ground.
Can't we all come together?
Kumbaya. Kumbaya. Right, okay. I believe the children of the future. I'll sing, Deej.
Okay,
anyway. So
teach them well.
The thing, let them lead the way. Now we're going to end up with Coming to America, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Sexual chocolate. So is it? We're getting these movies though that are classic movies in qualities that you've never seen before. Right. And it serves two purposes. One, it serves people like me that hadn't seen it, who are coming to it for the first time, and wary of the fact that it had been lampooned by everybody way before I saw it. But people seeing it for the first time see it in this, as good as you can reasonably expect it to be. But those who are familiar with it, that have seen it lots of times and that grew up with this movie, also then can get something from it because you're seeing it in a way you've never seen it before. Right. So, whether there are grainy shots, and there are, whether there are kind of, color timing issues and that kind of stuff. And this was another one of those ones that came out around that time where those, and I don't mean you in this, DJ, present company excluded, but this is one of those where the usual suspects jumped on the bandwagon and were like, oh, it's awful.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And this kind of,
no, I didn't think the whole thing was awful.
No, no, you didn't. And that's why I say I'm not accusing you of this.
Right.
But it's one where a lot of the usual suspects jumped on the bandwagon and were like, oh, it's awful. And yet, it's not.
Right.
It is.
No, it is not.
It's better than it's ever been. And aren't we lucky? Again, we get this. I mean, someone in the chat was saying, who was it said, this was scary on a 13-inch black and white TV.
For sure.
Oh yeah. Brain Dead. Yeah. So Brain Dead.
Yeah,
Hi, Brain Dead. Nice, unusual name, but that's fine. Yeah. I'm sure your parents were just being creative when they came up with that. But
I wasn't sure if that was a typo and he was Brian Dead.
I was thinking the same thing. I'm thinking that's my next video game character, Brian Dead.
No, Brian Deed in the chat says.
Brian Deed.
Brian Deed.
Saying that it was scary on a 13-inch black and white TV, and it may well have been. So aren't we lucky?
Oh, yeah.
In John's case, 120-inch screen, and Deed's 110 or 75. In Dolby Atmos. I mean, wow.
Yeah,
it's a completely different experience. So no matter what, really, the occasional issues there may be with the disc, the bottom line is you're in for an experience.
Yeah.
That even poor old the director himself William Friedkin wouldn't have had that experience. We got it better than he did, and he came up with it. So
exactly.
Not came up with it, directed it. It's based on a book, isn't it? But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So very, very good.
Yeah, and brings us back to remember the conversations about True Lies and The Abyss and all this. Like beg for years and years. We need these movies, and then you get them, and everybody craps all over them.
Right.
Like, it's not done the way I want it. Well, what? Right. But Cameron screwed it up, but it's the way he wanted it, and it looks great. It's never looked better. And I've had them on Laserdisc. I've had, I won The Abyss DVD, special edition DVD. This is the one thing I won on our radio show, EI, as a matter of fact, sports radio. And it was like back in '99. It was like, call in, be the 10th caller. I was like, I won. What are the odds? But yeah, it's like we've been begging for better quality. What's that, John?
1 in 10.
Yeah, well, maybe if only 10 people called in. Yeah. Like, yes, yeah.
They get through anyway.
Yeah, exactly. But I never win anything. It's like, but yeah, so that was the best quality we had up until this past year, and then as soon as it drops, complain. Oh well.
Yeah. Well, there's another one that's been on Twitter this week, with again one of the usual suspects who is always moaning about every video quality, which is odd because this particular person sells them. Complaining about Zodiac, the 4K disc. It's out, saying, "Oh, it's all digital. Oh, it was shot with digital cameras in 2007, 2009, whenever it was." And this person is taking the 4K disc to task for not fixing how it was shot. The reason I saw it, because I've long since muted this person. The reason I saw it is because one of the producers, quite a high up Hollywood producer, has seen it and just said, "This is nonsense. And how can you expect a movie shot in a particular way to look like a modern blockbuster? It's not possible."
Right.
And so that's the next one that's coming down the pipe. Zodiac will be the next one they're all moaning about.
Yeah.
And I mean, and there's definitely space to call things out if there's a problem with something. But like the fastest way to not get studio releases of older movies on 4K is to complain about everyone you get and convince people not to buy them, because that's how you don't get any more. So,
right. Oh yeah,
it's self-defeating, isn't it?
Right. Yeah,
not self-defecating.
No, that was
right. And that doesn't mean we should just swallow everything they give us, with a spoonful of sugar. You know what I mean? Like, if something's really crappy, like it's really crappy, and you should call it out. But if you complain about every single thing that comes out, it's not them anymore, right?
But that brings up the idea that we talked about a while ago, where anything shot digitally, that's what it is. Right. It's the best it's ever going to be. And as we upgrade in the future, there's no way to upgrade that. So for that movie in particular, shot digitally, and what would you say? It was like 2007 or whatever. It's like,
I think I know 2007, right? 2009, but yeah, it was one of those early HD camera movies, like Michael Mann was shooting, Fincher was kind of playing with that. And that, there's no extra info there.
Right. There's nothing you can't, you can't make more pixels out of something like that. Whereas if you shoot it on film, and that's what Snyder and, what's his name? Quentin Tarantino, they all shoot on film on purpose because they want, they be able, the upgrade, it's infinitely upgradable from there because the film, there is no resolution to film, right? So if you shoot digitally, even today, we'd be like, oh, look at that. We got 8K cameras. Well, 20 years from now, they might have 32. And you'd be like, that looks kind of grainy compared to whatever displays we're using at the time, Right. So it's, eventually I think, I already think we're there, but, maybe we're not. I don't know. At the point of, diminishing returns. Like you can't really tell that our eye can't perceive the difference, but you never know what's coming down the road, so what displays are going to be capable of and stuff like that. So,
bionic eyes,
Yeah. Well, even film, there is a 3D-ness to film, the way the film, the gel and everything, the way, and you can pull that out if you have the technology, so, and if it's restored, correctly, or if it's stored correctly, saved.
Right.
So that's a lot of the issues with some of the older films. They just weren't saved. They shot them on film, but there's no viable film left. So, but yeah, so it's, so Eddie in the chat, oh, here we go. He's pushing back. He's saying, film has a limit on line resolution. I'd push back on that, and we'll be talking to Eddie on Saturday. So maybe that'll be good. Because there is, and film has no lines. There's nothing. There's no resolution to it. It's literally just an image shot. So, maybe depending on what kind of film you use and the quality, it's like they're something like that. But yeah, it's, let's chat, Eddie. That'll be good. Here we go. Tune in Saturday.
Seconds out.
To be friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the blue corner.
Let's see. All right. In the blue corner. Let's see. Let's step away for a second from the actually. Let's do. You ready for this?
Yeah.
All right.
Talking about double dip.
Double dip. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Did you talk about this already?
Nope. Well, I talked about the Blu-ray. This is the 4K Dolby Atmos version. Ooh,
well, let's see then, because I'm very interested about this. See what you have to say about it, and well, let's just bring it to everybody.
Okay, so this is Renfield. Again, I think I don't think it was a year ago, but I think it was a number of months ago. A movie that I only saw in the first place because of one Mr. John Ciccone, who saw it and told me it was good.
Really liked it.
Yeah. And so it had passed me by because I just had thought, oh, it's another Nicolas Cage stupid movie, and I'm not going to enjoy it, and I'll skip it. And I had no idea what it actually was, and until John said, oh, it's really good. I went out and bought the Blu-ray, and it was and is really good. So I really enjoyed the Blu-ray. And this, though, is a 4K reissue, which came out here a couple of weeks ago. Not only is it in 4K, but Dolby Atmos as well, which was a nice surprise. I figured it wouldn't be in Atmos, but it is. So the movie, still a lot of fun. This is a really good vampire horror kind of romp. It's just all kinds of fun, and it's violent and it's gory, but in a fun way. And it is just a fantastic time. And this is my second time viewing it, and had just as much, if not more, fun the second time than the first time.
Okay,
so then let's talk. Yeah, go on.
I didn't like it as much as you.
Okay. All right. Go on, start throwing things at him, John. Come on.
I know.
What is it indeed? Was it 4K? Was it Atmos? Okay.
Yep, absolutely 4K Atmos. Yeah, all of that. I watched it on the Kaleidoscope. I'd seen it for a while there, and I was like, oh, maybe I don't know. And I remember John talking about it, and I'm like, I was like, so I saw you put it down, and I was like, all right, it's October, it's Halloween, all that stuff. I love Nicolas Cage. I think he's great, and I think it's good, but that's it. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm not like it's really good. I'm like, it's just kind of like fun, silly.
Exactly.
Yeah, what would you need in life?
But that's not like really good. That's like fun, silly horror.
It's not The Godfather, but
no,
it's not Transformers.
Yeah.
A bunch of people right now listening going,
what are they talking about?
Where they talk? Why Transformers come up? Oh God. Yeah.
I mean, no. There aren't name me another film where someone gets stabbed to death with their own arms.
I probably didn't see it, and it's probably not that memorable. I want to say Dusk Till Dawn for some reason, but maybe not. I do. I mean, I want to say
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I want to say, yeah, yeah. I'm not saying it's bad. I laughed, but I was just like, really good, or like really good, guys.
Great. Oh, it's great. It's not really good. It's great. It is great.
I like it.
Oh my God. You're throwing it into like Evil Dead Rise here? What are you doing?
Kill Bill.
Yeah, exactly.
Someone named Jennifer Briggs.
There you go.
About Kill Bill.
Oh yeah. There you go. Yeah.
No one gets stabbed with their own arms, though.
Are you sure?
I've seen Kill Bill many times. Hey, the poster's on the wall of Cinema George. Okay, so I knows me some Kill Bill.
Yeah,
but I love how over the top it is. I love how dopey it is, and I think, and again, I agree. Nicolas Cage in this is fantastic as essentially Bela Lugosi.
Bela Lugosi,
yeah.
And I just think he's having so much fun with it.
That transition there was really good. And it's not a spoiler because if you haven't seen it, you don't know what we're talking about. But when you see it, you'll be like, oh, I know what you're talking about. That was incredible. That was a lot of fun. Nicolas Cage, it's like he's one of those actors that like Willem Dafoe that you just you can put as much makeup on him as you want, and you know that's Nicolas Cage under there. Just the way he talks, his mannerisms. It's just, I mean, it's ridiculous. And seeing this movie, and like, you guys know what I'm talking about. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. It's the exact opposite of Penguin, right? It's like you just know that that's Nicolas Cage under there, right? It's just so ridiculous. Like, it's like a trash bag full of makeup over his face, and it's like, yep, that's him, dead on. Like,
but so we all agree it's a fantastic movie. But
I've never heard the term Vamcom before.
No, I know. I like that. That's a cool. Yeah, can we steal that?
I like that.
Yeah, the best of Vamcom in a long while.
Vamcom.
I don't even know another one, but
Vamcom. I feel like that's the cable company that comes out.
Yeah.
Like, where do you get your internet? Vamcom. Vamcom. Yeah. Who sent them that way? Oh, Brian Deed, my buddy.
He coined the phrase. But yeah, but also then what I liked about this particular version is not only is, in my opinion, a great film or a fantastic film, but also the 4K, I think, is really nice in this, and certainly a leap over the Blu-ray, because of course there are all heightened colors in this. I mean Dracula's lair in this with the red of the blood packs, the green of the backgrounds, the kind of the deep inky kind of shadows. I thought it looked way better than it should have done. I mean, this was a micro budget movie, and yet it almost looks like it's been shot by Roger Deakins at times. You know, the way the production design and some of these things and the way it's shot looks absolutely amazing. Again, way better than it should do. And the 4K brings that out so well. And I thought the Atmos audio was a lot of fun as well. Again, with the gunshots again when he zips around as the kind of whatever it is, the bats, the smoke, whatever it is, they all move around the room really well. And in a movie that is a Vamcom, as we've now turned it.
Yeah.
See, stealing it already. Then actually this is what you want for that kind of thing. You want that over the top, heightened, kind of silly soundtrack that just makes it even more fun. I mean, I had a great time with this again. I really do like this. It's such a dopey movie and a film I'll see forever, again and again and again. Because of how little I was expecting it, I just loved it, really, really did enjoy it. And John, again, I don't know if it's out physically over there in 4K yet.
I don't think
really
so. I've been waiting for
label
it.
Yeah, it's a small label here that released it. Yeah, but if it does, and when it comes, then definitely pick it up because you'll love how good it looks and sounds. Again, we all agree, fantastic movie. So it's all good.
Hello, is my microphone?
If I say it enough times.
Hello.
yeah.
Is my microphone on?
Yeah.
It's like I'm just someone running the show.
Oh, here.
Apparently, I shut myself down.
Well, it looks like it is. No, that's the import. Yeah,
I don't find what the company is.
Yeah, it's like I thought everything you said, Steve, is right. It's like the audio and the video is very, very good. I didn't think anything was like reference quality. Like, oh, you got to see that. Like when you mentioned the bats and stuff. There's one particular scene where he like turns into a bunch of bats. Right.
Yeah.
And the way that sound starts at the front of your room, and then all of them, they just basically spread around your room as they fly away. Like starts as a focal point at the front of the room, and then all of your speakers get engaged as the bats go all around, it was really cool. And again, like the gunshots, everything like that. But it was a fun movie. Like, yeah, like let's see, where did it go? My buddy Steve had. There we go. It was a fun movie. That's it. There was one issue. It's not really good. It's just, it was fun. It was fun. It was like, maybe if, I don't know. It's just, I'm not saying I didn't like it, but I'm like, really good, guys? I don't know.
Actually, Jordan says, and he's done it, which I had looked up as well, because there's the disc there. It's a Turbine release, which are German company. So, and in fact, if I remember rightly, when you put the disc in, the warning titles are actually all in German. So I think it's quite literally the German disc, pretty much. Right. But hopefully it'll get a release over there.
Yeah,
because it is well worth doing. Yeah, it is well worth picking up. But the only slight issue I did have is the guy that voices Sonic is of course in this. And if you've seen Sonic 1 and 2 as many times as I have, it does at times sound like Sonic versus Dracula, which is a bit weird because the actor doesn't try and change his voice at all. Yeah. It's called the Dr. Robotnik.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a bit strange.
Yeah. So,
but yeah, no, it's great. I did enjoy it. It's well worth picking up. I think. How much was it on Kaleidoscape, by the way, Deej?
I have no idea. It's hard for me to go back and even look.
Oh, because you had it a while. Sorry, yeah. Sorry, you haven't bought it this week.
Yeah, I haven't. I'd have to look, and I'd have to go back and look at my receipts.
Is it because it's $69.99 and you're too embarrassed to say that you paid that for it?
No, I'd tell you. I've spent more on worse. I'm like, no, I did enjoy it. I'm not regretting that I bought it, but it might have been, I don't know, maybe because it's newer, it might have been $24.99 or $14. I doubt it was $14.99. So
did you watch it with Jen, or did you see it on your own?
No, I just watched it on my own.
Oh,
just watched it on my own. So it's
Jen was watching Kill Bill. We've established that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jen was upstairs watching Kill Bill.
Which, by the way, just so we're also talking Kill Bill, they're both out apparently in January or February in 4K. But separately, not the whole bloody affair, which is what we've been waiting for forever, where they were put back together with the deleted scenes from 2. Right. They are separate releases. But as long as the uncut Japanese version's on there, I'll be happy. Where it doesn't go black and white, it stays color. So during the Crazy 88 fight and the Western releases, it went black and white because to get through the censors. Whereas in the Japanese version, and I used to have the Japanese DVD, it stayed in color, and you see the whole thing. So for Gorehounds, it's great. So I'm rather hoping that it'll be the uncut Japanese version on the 4K disc. Otherwise, what's the point in 4K HDR wider color gamut? Well, actually, I won't finish that thought because you talked today about black and white stuff, Deej. So
black
actually, I won't go there.
And your color gamut and all of that's fun stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but color.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Well, at least you listened. That was nice.
Oh, yeah, I listened to it all. I did listen to it all.
You saw it was like 30 minutes. You're like, I can get that in.
Yeah, that's a trip to work. That's all right.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
But anyway, so Renfield, great. We all agree.
Yep.
Okay.
Renfield, good. Moving on.
But again, it's a big thanks to John because again, if John, like last week, if you hadn't mentioned it, I wouldn't have seen it. So the fact that you did was a really cool thing that then meant I could double dip.
Hey, that's right. The amount of movies I've watched because of you. So
man, but it's very cool though to have our eyes and ears. So you can look, I've just seen this, and things that I would have just skipped over because it didn't look like it was for me, and then because you'd seen it, it's great.
Right.
So yeah, very cool.
Yep. All right. Let's see. We are ready for.
Oh, Travis, you've got some backup, Deej.
Yep.
Travis says I was indifferent on Renfield. God, Travis, honestly.
There you go. See?
Yeah.
Hey,
Jordan's on our side, so.
Yeah, Jordan. Yeah, but Jordan loves everything.
Yeah.
Jordan loves just like anything.
He's the DJ of the UK.
That's not true. I've seen Jordan not like things.
He loves everything. Does our Jordan?
Yeah. All right. Who wants to go next?
I'm fine. Take your pick.
What's this one, John? You ready?
Ooh. Yeah, that's Steve and I both have this one. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yep. Oh, Steve, you have it too?
I didn't put the image up, but I have seen it. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go.
Okay, so this was a new film on Netflix, dropped on Friday. It's called Don't Move. And this is Dolby Atmos, Dolby Vision, everything that Netflix would have on a new release movie. Let's talk about the presentation first, I guess. I thought for a Netflix movie, the Dolby Atmos track was fairly subdued. Like I didn't really notice a ton of engagement as far as the sound quality goes on this. Visually, I thought it looked really good. I thought the picture was sharp. I thought it had good, a lot of good color. This takes place in the wilderness, in the woods. So there's a lot of greens and sharp picture, sharp color. But sound wise, I don't know. I didn't notice much there. Steve, what do you think on that?
Yeah, there were some nice meaty thunks when certain people get
meaty thunks.
Well,
I don't think we've used that term yet.
Some gross kind of sound effects when certain people are struck one over the head with heavy metal, and it's like a really sickening thud.
Yeah, I caught that.
But no, you're right. No, I agree completely. I think audio wise, it is subdued. I think it's kind of meant to be. This is not a massive action movie. This is there's not. But even then, there's not a lot of atmospherics either, are there? You don't hear lots of kind of birds and wind in the trees.
I don't know. I guess you should have heard like streams and water. Like there was a lot of potential for a good Atmos track in this movie. But I just feel like with most of their recent offerings, they've been better. Like I just don't feel like this was as good as a lot of the originals. I'm assuming this is a Netflix original. I don't know 100%, but
yeah, I think so. Yeah,
but most of their original productions have been pretty solid when it comes to the home theater presentation. And this one I just thought was okay. Like I said, visually it looks great, but the audio I thought was a bit lacking. The film itself, I mean, this is a very tight. Is what, like 83 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, 132. Yeah.
There is no meat on the bone here at all. Like it starts 3 minutes in and it goes until the end. As far as just the story, there's no dragging. But that being said, like it was okay, but I didn't feel the tension here. Like, again, I don't want to spoil what this is about, but obviously it's well, I mean, it's right there on the screen, I guess, if you're looking at it. But this is a woman that gets drugged out in the woods. You know, nefarious things are planned for her, and she spends 80% of the movie just catatonic. I mean, she's just laying there, you know, moving her eyes and just kind of having things happen around her. She doesn't have a lot of agency, as Steve and I were kind of talking about before we got on the show. And yeah, I don't know. I never really felt the tension for this character. Like, I don't know. It just, I don't know that it worked as a premise for the thriller. So I don't know.
It's kind of all in the title.
Well, it is, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, I know. I agree. I think to sort of carry on with the home theater side of it first, the video I thought, I agree, was good. I had a funny moment though when I put it on. The first time I put it on, which was on Sunday, I think it was Sunday afternoon. I put it on, right? I started the Netflix came up, all fine, put it on, and it looked like a bad pirate VHS video, right?
No.
And I'm thinking, what's going on here? I back out of it, put something else on. That looked okay. Back into it, same again. Yeah. And it was strobing, right? Really bad. On what is going on? Panic. And then I realized that I was downloading a video game upstairs, and someone else here was downloading a game. So I was like, and I did the speed check thing, and it was 2 meg.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Well, that'll be it then. So anyway, finish the download, put it back on, fine. So I know. Anyway, it looked great, and there are a number of times, bearing in mind, as I said, she doesn't move for some of it. There are close-ups on her eye and the kind of and her cheek, and they're kind of lingering close-ups because all she can do at some point is move her eyes. And I thought they looked lovely, like the detail on that, the kind of the color change across her cheek from the kind of the makeup and everything else looks really nice. And actually kind of, again, enhances or is enhanced by the 4K. But yeah, otherwise it looks good, but the sound, is not great. In terms of the movie, I agree, John. I wanted this to be much more, or have much more bite, to be more, just have a bit more of a sting in the tail, for her to have, as said, more agency. I mean, I know it came out last Friday. Is it too soon for a remake? And if it's not too soon for a remake, can we get Carl Ellsworth on this? Carl, if you're listening. Yeah. Because what I want on this is, again, I'm not going to spoil it, but I wanted more comeuppance. I wanted the bad guy to get his just desserts in a better way, and I just think
Steve just wanted more blood.
Well, that too, yeah. But the idea here is that this person, all right, I can think of stronger adjectives, all right, but this person, and again, it's all there, targets this woman, and his designs are fairly nefarious. Okay, he's not drugging her for good reasons.
Right? Is there?
And so, no, strangely,
and so
woods? Quite. Yeah, I mean, of all places. Yeah,
let me take you to the woods and make you what?
Yeah,
paralyzed.
Sure, exactly that. Yeah. So that's okay.
No, hear me out. I got a good reason. Hear me out. Nothing good ever comes from hear me out. After hear me out, nothing. I'm gonna dig a hole. No, hear me out. It's like nothing.
Yeah, this giant
honey,
knife.
Our bank account's empty. No, hear me out. Nothing.
Magic
good.
Beans.
Exactly. No, hear me out.
So Carl Ellsworth needs to get hold of this, right? We need some vengeance. We need some Last House on the Left remake style. I'm going to get my revenge on you so and so. And I think that bite, that venom is what it needs, and it doesn't really have that. And you can't. And the argument, because again, I was thinking of this earlier. The argument could be, well, yeah, but it's realistic, isn't it? It's more realistic if it's like this. But there are things that happen in this that are so ludicrous that it's kind of that it's not that either. So you can't kind of have your cake and eat it. You're either going realistic with this, and then you take it to its logical conclusion. Which, by the way, in 25 years of doing the job that I do, she'd just get dead. Right. Okay, that's what would happen in real. I mean, sorry to say, that's true. That's what would happen. Yeah, exactly that. So if you're going to movieize this, and you should, then let's have some movie comeuppance. Let's have some revenge. Rip-roaring rampage of revenge, to quote Kill Bill again. So that's what it needed, and it doesn't have that. And so I felt, I wouldn't say cheated, I just felt underwhelmed by the end of it. Exactly as you say, John. It's just like, it's all right. I'm never going to see it again. If it came out on 4K disc, I don't think I'd buy it, because it's just yeah. And actually, Eddie Magumbo hit the nail on the head actually in the chat. So he says Don't Move was reminiscent of Alone, a similar backstory. Now, I talked about Alone earlier. Todd Anderson recommended it, and I reviewed it, talked about it on the show. And Alone was much better, because that has more of this stuff that I've been talking about. So I agree with you, Eddie. And again, you, John, it just was a bit, it's okay, but it's a TV movie in every way.
Yeah, it's a lot like Renfield.
No, obviously not. No, there's no Nicolas Cage in this.
That's what we were just saying. It's okay. It's okay.
No.
It's okay.
So I don't think we won't look back on this in a year's time and revisit this. We're not going to be going, oh, it's Halloween, let's do Don't Move. I just think it'll come and it'll go, and it'll, it was number one on the day that it came out here. In fact,
this was probably Saturday morning. I watched it. It came out Friday night. So
and I'll be surprised if it's still number one.
Probably, it probably wasn't in the top 10 by Sunday. So
yes, quite. Let's hope Unhinged is back at number one.
Right.
There you go.
So there we go. But like I said, it's worth, it's on Netflix. You've paid your money already. You've already got it. So if you've got an hour and a half free and you want to see what we're talking about, give it a go. There is some home theater interest to it, but it's not something to put anywhere near the top of your list. There's much better stuff out there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So,
like Renfield.
Yeah.
Well, obviously Renfield. Goes without saying.
Evil Dead Rise, great film. No, hear me out. Nothing good comes out.
You don't need to. That's fine.
Yep, no, that's it. Hear me out. No. Oh boy, it's great when we agree. Oh jeez. All right. All right. Let's bring a little humor.
All right. Can't see that one. Got it.
Yeah, you'll see it in a second.
Oh,
yeah.
I think I've seen
it. It can only be one thing.
Yeah, we can. Yep.
He's
on his ending his season. Yep.
Yeah.
Here we go. End of the month. Here we go. Final in the series, Underworld Blood Wars from 2016. Yeah. Kate Beckinsale was in this one too. So there's Kate Beckinsale. For those of you on YouTube,
I'm pretty sure that's a man.
No.
Oh no, that's not what you're talking about. All right,
that's a man, baby. Nope,
it's a man, baby.
You're looking past the goods.
Jen is watching, don't you, Deej?
Oh yeah. Yep. Nope. Yep. No problem.
Get in, Jen.
Yep. So
this is the one I remember the least. Like, I don't remember this movie at all.
It is probably the least memorable. I will say that. It's like it is the
or
least
most forgettable,
memorable.
right? If we want to be positive.
Well, yeah. No, it's not that forgettable. I mean, it's they I mean, come on. It's like had to do that. So but yeah, I still enjoyed the movie. By the end of the movie, I was looking to see, searching Google to see if they are making a sixth installment, and there's been rumors of it forever.
Does it leave room for? I guess it leaves room for that. I don't remember the ending at all. Like I said, I don't remember this movie, but
yeah, it's basically it's the first three movies are probably the story arc that they wanted. That they envisioned when they started the series, when they made the first one, that this is what they wanted to put. There you go. There we go. Yeah, I used to look like Jen says. I used to look like that.
I hope Jen's not talking about the man.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding, Jen.
She means in a cage.
Oh, Jen, you were never that tall.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Oh boy. So yeah, the Underworld Blood Wars. Yes, there we go. The first of the three, like I said, that's the story. Everything after that, I think, is just like, okay, let's see how we can keep this going. And this last one, you really feel that. If you like the series, it was still fun. Oh man, I gotta bring this. There we go. I forgot to change the image on the screen. But yeah, it's home theater wise, again, just like the last one. It's, which I forget what the name of it's. Evolution was the last one. No, Evolution was the second.
Underworld Rising,
Awakening.
Or whatever it was. Awakening.
Maybe it was Awakening was the next one. Yeah, Rise of the Lycans is third. Underworld is first. Whatever. Evolution is second. But yes, the 4K, the HDR on this, really good. As you can see, I mean, your black levels are really deep. You know, your brights, your hues, everything about it is really nice. It was great. It was like, getting out of control. But yeah, and then the audio was very, very good in this. The bass very deep. Harmony remote lighting up throughout the movie. Lots of great explosions, lots of great gunfire. And again, like everything, lots of action around the room. If you're into the Underworld environment or world or whatever you want to call it, definitely. I mean, it's a box set. What's this?
Jen,
I was going to mention my Hobbit-sized legs.
That's a different franchise, Jen.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just your legs. I mean, that would just be awkward if you had a normal sized body and Hobbit sized legs. That would just be wrong. But yeah. So anyways, that rounds out my my October of Underworld. Any comments?
Yeah. I'm just concerned. I'm thinking that if I end up watching all of these, I'll have that look on my face that Clint Eastwood's got on the front of Unforgiven next to it.
Yeah,
I think that's just going to be like, all right, okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. By the time you get to these two, Steve, you're definitely getting into the campy part.
Oh, okay.
So,
right.
But
I did look again at the first one. I did look at trying to find it, but I just can't find it for a sensible price.
Yeah,
not for a sensible. I can import it from the US, but it'll be about £40, and that's a lot for a movie that I really don't know if I'm going to like. Because having seen it once, I didn't like it. So I don't know. I want to.
But Jordan in the chat saying Blood Wars looks great on 4K and 3D. No surprise given their Sony discs. Absolutely, absolutely, and they do. They look. It's like, as a matter of fact, if you go back to the original from here, you're like. You see the difference on when they were, the age difference. Yeah. So it is a big difference. And, but I mean, like I said, I really enjoy the series. I go through it pretty much every year. Various reasons.
In a box of tissues.
Yeah. What's that?
Nothing.
I heard you. I got you. All right, let's get out.
Yeah, I was saying I saw Jen's comment. I was like, all right.
Yeah, exactly. So, there we go. Oh.
It got hot in the room all of a sudden.
Yep. All right. Let's go next.
I don't have any more. So,
okay.
Steve,
this is one we talked about earlier. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay. Now, with appropriate apologies to Todd Anderson, and he and I might talk about this on Saturday, actually, if we get a chance. This is Late Night with the Devil, which is a new movie with David Dalsmachian, I think it is. I might be saying that wrong. Who you can see there. Yeah, the Smalchin. Oh, there you go. He so this is a film that I have got on this on 4K disc in Dolby Digital. Sorry, DTS HD MA 5.1. Sorry, it's not in Atmos. And this is a film that Todd told me about a couple of weeks ago. I knew it was coming out. Todd said that this is his favorite horror film of the year, but in fact might be his favorite movie of the year. Which of course set a high bar. And Todd and I normally are, in agreement when it comes to horror movies. He's recommended movies to him, I recommended movies back, and vice versa, and we normally agree. Not on this, we won't. What
tells you really think, Steve?
Yeah, well, no, I know. It's not terrible by any means, but again, I felt a little bit let down by this. So anyway, 4K disc, as I said, DTS HD MA. The story is, it's kind of a semi-found footage film. The idea is that back in 1977, there was a late night talk show and in New York. And the idea is that they were struggling for ratings, things were going wrong, and so they decide to push their audience and try and do unusual things. And on this one particular night, Halloween night, wouldn't you know, in 1977, they invite on a number of guests, and one of them is a doctor who also brings on a young girl who may or may not be possessed by the devil. And what transpires then is you then have this kind of a mixture of, I mean, Travis will hate it because there's multiple different aspect ratios in this. Oh yeah. So you've got it. So you've got the show itself, which is in 4:3. It's all been shot digitally, but it's been made to look like a 70s show in terms of how it's been done, which is actually quite effective. And then you've got the behind the scenes stuff, which is black and white, and so it has all these different things. So it moves in and out of them. So the movie is then. So you're watching the show as it's being broadcast, in inverted commas, and then you've got the backstage scenes when they go to commercial breaks, and the movie then unravels in terms of kind of what it's building towards. And then it builds towards this thing, and then it all happens. And for me, I was intrigued and I was enjoying it, and it was all good until we get to the end, which I'm not going to spoil. And for me, the ending was really anticlimactic and really let it down. And I just sort of finished it thinking, oh, you know, is that it? Because I was along for the ride, and then, you know, it just kind of careened off where I didn't want it to go. So I was disappointed. Overall, I'm sure there will be people that will really like it. There will be people that will be happy with how it resolves. I just personally didn't like it. I thought it
was who?
Yeah, John. See, told you.
Absolutely love Late Night with the Devil. I'm so happy it got a 4K UHD release by Second Sight, and I no longer have to rely on Shudder, where it's only in HD.
Yeah, so you know, that's fine. I get it. And the review, and in fairness, my view on this is the minority one, because on IMDb it's like 77, so it's a high for a horror film. That's high. So it just didn't end how I wanted it to, and that's my fault, not the filmmakers. This is just my personal opinion.
Right.
So, but in terms of the video and the audio, the video, as I've already said, is really good. I like how they've tried to de-age it and make it softer when you get the 70s aesthetic, which is supposed to be the show. And then when it cuts to sort of the behind the scenes stuff in black and white, that's more detailed. And so that's quite a fun little aesthetic change, and is interesting. It's a visual motif that 4K actually suits really well. The audio, though, is both good and bad. It's obviously upmixed to Neural X, and it's bad because the conceit of the movie is you're watching a 70s TV show. So why is it when the audience clap and cheer, they are behind you and above you in the Atmos channels and everything? That makes no sense if you're watching a 70s show. They weren't mixing in Dolby Surround, I don't think, or indeed Dolby Atmos back in the 70s. Fairly sure. So you're kind of, so whilst the audio is good and it's enveloping, it takes you out of the film each time, because you're like, what am I watching a 70s movie or a new? What am I watching here?
Right.
And that was kind of weird, but it is good in terms of home theater, because you do get laughter and clapping, and you get voices behind you in the surrounds. There are what should we say? There are possession sequences. There are things going bump and other things, and that moves all around the room. And there's kind of, these are the effects, and they do go up into the height channels and all that stuff. So you get envelopment, but it doesn't make sense within the context of the film, which is just a bit odd. So it is good. It's worth seeing. It just, for me, does not have the ending that I wanted it to be. There again, Carl, if you're here, mate, I've got another ending for you that we need to pitch.
Yeah.
It just needed, because every character in this is morally flawed. Everyone in here is doing things for the wrong reasons. That's not a spoiler. It is, right? So every character in here,
show.
No, well, that too. But every character in this is doing things for the wrong reason. They're all morally reprehensible for different reasons. And the way this is building towards a climax, the people, therefore, that are morally reprehensible in horror movies get their comeuppance. Things go, they get it. And the way this is building, I was expecting something much worse than I got. It may be that watching Terrifier 1, 2, and 3 and Smile 2, that I'm I'm kind of expecting more extreme levels of whatever it might be. And
I can see how that could happen.
Yeah. And so, quite. And so that might be it. And if it is, then so be it. And maybe if I watch this, a year from now, I might be more attuned to it. But I just was thinking this is going to go to an extreme place. This lot are going to really get their comeuppance. And again, it happens, but not in a way that you'd want it to.
That's 2 movies this week, John, that Steve's
I know,
these people aren't just getting killed enough.
Yep. It's not dead enough.
Exactly. They're dead. Just not the way I like it. It's not good enough.
Yeah.
I know.
What does that say about me?
Terrifier. Or, it's like, that's not, no,
I
just gotta kill him right.
I did say,
that's
didn't
my
I,
lawyer
when we were talking
right
about Terrifier? Yeah. I did say when we were talking about Terrifier that it pushed the line, it pushes the line up further, and then everything else then either has to come up to that line, if not beyond it. And so anything below that, then its impact is reduced. And these movies are suffering in comparison. That's not to say I want everything to look like Terrifier. I really don't. But it just kind of, it just doesn't have that impact, I would say. And I think it's a shame, because I think the people that this was directed by 2 brothers, I think, and they're clearly horror fans. They're obviously kind of know their stuff, but I think they pull back at the end. They don't take it to where it could go. So that's my thing. But as I said, I'm in the minority. Jordan loved it. Todd loved it. And so I'm looking forward to talking to him about it.
Sounds like I'm gonna love it.
I was gonna say I haven't seen this either, but the chatter I've seen online have agreed with you that the ending fell flat. Yeah. So I mean, this is like the online Twitter bros, that talk about things, but the few critiques I've seen of this have all been at the ending. So there are people that do agree with you on that.
Right. Well, that's something.
Again, I don't know. I haven't seen it, so.
I mean, it's worth, like I said, guys, it's worth seeing. It's not a long movie as well. It's another hour and a half. Lean and mean movie, and it has an interesting conceit. It does really. I mean, what is interesting if you watch this and then you watch the opening monologue from the late night show with Stephen Colbert, and that you kind of see how there are echoes across time in terms of how they do these shows, which I thought was really interesting. So yeah, I was along for the ride, and then I just kind of got off at the last stop.
Get off at the last stop.
Yeah, back to the bus bench.
There we go. All right. Well, that's too bad. But I mean, honestly, I'm not even joking. It's probably something I would like. Like by your description, Jordan liked it, Todd liked it, and it's like I could see myself wrapping my head around it and being like, no, I get what they did, but I also understand, especially after those 2 Terrifier movies. It's like
3.
Do you feel like 3, which oh my God, you're a glutton. Do you feel like that might have ruined you a little bit for other horror movies? not even joking.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
not
now you're just like
because you don't. I mean, believe it or not, you don't have to have gore. You don't have to have violence for something to be scary or unsettling. Horror is
according to everything you said in this show, you do.
Well, but I find it more when you don't see.
The Jaws thing.
Well, quite well. Look, you look at movies like The Witch and Midsummer and films like that. There's this elevated horror where it's not stalk and slash. It's not. I mean, there's blood and guts in Midsummer, but there's not loads of it. There's none in The Witch, and yet there are moments in The Witch that are about that. When I saw it, and I've talked about it on the show, I genuinely thought, am I losing my mind here? Was really unsettled by it. So it doesn't have to be, but I think the difficulty, again, this is the sort of thing I'll be fascinated to talk about with screenwriters and stuff, is if you do all setup but no payoff, or you set it up but don't pay off in the way that the audience, whoever that might be, expects it, then you've got a big problem. The ending is where you're trying to get to. And if that ending falls flat for whoever's watching it, it affects the entire movie up until that point. And that's kind of what's happened with this and with Don't Move, although Don't Move was kind of throughout the whole movie, really. But this was just at the end. It just the climax, the finale, is just not what I kind of thought we were heading towards. But yes, I think there is something to that. I think Terrifier does change the bar. It raises it. and that then affects everything coming in underneath it. But I don't think I've completely been ruined for all other horror, because there's some other stuff this week that was really good. So yeah, but it's an interesting argument, and it's definitely has an impact. But I don't think it's ruined me just yet. Because they're having some great horror movies this year. So yeah, but there it is.
All right. Do you have anything else you really want to get to this week, Steve? Because I have two more.
Well, let's. I'm just trying to remember. It's been so many.
Yeah, I know.
Well, we've got the one that I think we've all seen this week, haven't we? We've got that one, and then
this one. You mean that you?
Yeah. So we've got that one.
So we got that's the one I want to talk. That, and I
have
one.
Let's do that. Yeah, let's do those then, and do those two, and then I've got 3 others, but those are not horror movies.
Okay,
we can always do those next week.
We can do those. Yeah, or even on Saturday we can hit some.
Yep.
There you go. So let's have some fun with this one. All right. Talk about double dipping. So, Steve brought this up last week. It was last week, right?
It was
Thanksgiving.
Last week,
yeah.
All right. Uh-huh. So I watched it this week, 4K Atmos on Kaleidoscape. John, where did you see it?
Netflix.
You saw it on Netflix.
So I had Netflix versions of Dolby Atmos and Dolby.
And
so what was your question, Steve, about the
accents?
The accents.
Yeah. Tell me, you guys are the experts. You tell me.
Some were good. Yeah. Some were not.
Yeah, they were pretty funny. I find it like, I think the worst part about when they do accents like Patrick Dempsey in this one, it's like, that's not his accent. Right. And I think that's the hardest part is that it's not that it's necessarily a bad version of the accent, because I've experienced like what you would consider a bad version in real life. And you're like, that can't be real. That can't be real. It's like, but it is. Like you go like John knows, like you go to Dorchester and talk to people there, or go to the North End and you talk to people there, and you'll be like, if you feel like you're in a movie, because that's what they do. There is some crazy accents around here, and really thick, right? And I don't think even when John was here, people hear my accent, and people around the country when we first started this show were like, he's from the Northeast. They weren't sure if it was New York, or they weren't sure, you know what I mean? So it's we're like kind of a mild version, but there are some really thick versions of the Boston accent. Patrick Dempsey's was like, I don't know, John, what would you say? Like kind of like in and out a little bit?
Yeah. It wasn't super consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the best accents were like the date or the extras, and just like the people yelling from like behind the rope at the store and things like that.
Yeah.
But that could also be that like we don't know those people's real voice. Like we don't know how they sound. Like you were talking about Patrick Dempsey, and you know that it's fake. For all I know, that guy yelling the extra was from Massachusetts. You know
That's his voice.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but I thought some of those exchanges outside the big superstore, kind of close to the beginning of the movie, were some of the best ones. Like that's where I felt like I'm at home.
I'm being seen.
Yeah. The other part I would say is like there were too many variables too. Like if this is supposed to be like all in a smaller town, people would have similar accents. There were some really thick ones,
too many
like
different ones.
Yeah, like somebody traveled all the way from another part of New England just to take part. You're like, okay, that was too much, or that's
got to get your waffle iron somehow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got to get a waffle iron. It's like, it was. So the accents aside, that stuff doesn't bother me.
No.
I find it humorous, especially when people be like, that's the worst Boston accent you've ever heard. And be like, no, actually, that was pretty dead on.
That's a real guy from down the street.
That was real. That was real. I can't remember what movie it was, but I've heard like you hear, what was it? Like
Mystic River had some pretty dicey ones with Kevin Bacon.
But they're good though, but they're real. Like when Affleck does them or Damon does them, something like that. And you're like, people are like, oh my God, how can't they do that? can't they do that better? And they're like, they're probably just going
just
back
talking,
to their voice.
It's just their real
right?
voice.
It's like, yeah, and it's like, nope, that's where they grew up, and that might be, or they might be thickening it for the role or something. But the role, they are real. I haven't heard one in a movie that I'd be like, nope, can't reckon that has never happened around here. So yeah, I can't say that, but because it's pretty bad around here at times.
But does the town look? I mean, it's supposed to be in Gloucester, isn't it?
No, it's supposed to be in Plymouth.
Is it Plymouth? Is it?
Is it Plymouth?
And is it?
Yeah.
Is it Plymouth?
Yeah.
Is it
No.
clearly not?
No, I don't.
Is it Spain?
If that's Plymouth, yeah, exactly. I was thinking that. If I go to Plymouth all the time for, I used to go to Plymouth all the time. Every Father's Day weekend, we have mass hockey meetings down there. And I mean, for like 15 years, I was, and I'm like, I've never seen that center of town. I was like, what the heck is that? But yeah, that was weird. That was weird. It's like, maybe there's a different part. I have no idea that I didn't know about. It's maybe closer to Plymouth Plantation, something like that. But
so a place that you're familiar with, claiming to be it, but shot somewhere else.
Yeah.
And
okay.
Wow. I mean, what must that be like?
It's not the first time. It's not the first time.
The weirdest one, because Spain isn't even the weirdest one in the Covenant. The weirdest one, the most disconcerting, is Bloodshot, of all things, where the whole ending
really
of that is supposed to be in London, and it's clearly South Africa, because you've got the wrong side of the road. The number plates are wrong. The markings on the road are wrong. The buildings are wrong. You might as well have, just been in space.
Yeah. But it is about a guy that can like manipulate himself with his blood, right? You remember that? It's like, remember that part?
Happens all the time. But so was it distracting?
That's the science fiction. London's a real place.
Yeah, exactly. So none of that took me out of the movie. The movie's ridiculous.
Oh, it is ridiculous. But in all, again, we might differ, but for me, in all the best ways. Like, again, this was super fun, just super cheesy, gory, fairly predictable. Like,
it was.
I knew who it was very early on. But I didn't care because this movie's just about like the stupid fun of people getting killed in stupid ways. There's some good scenes that I don't want to spoil for anybody that hasn't seen it, but one that Steve brought up that was particularly
which one was that?
Gruesome. The oven scene.
Yeah. That one was great.
Pretty gruesome.
There was another one that, and it's not a spoiler, but something happens to a character and something comes through their face. And pay attention if you haven't seen the movie you'll know when this happens. But the character's nose literally comes off, and it's like the shot is like from the side, and the nose is like dangling perfectly right in front of you. And it's just, I thought it was so great. It was so perfect. I was like, I'm like, is that what would happen in real life? Like, that would,
doubtful, but
like I just laughed out loud because the nose was like perfectly intact, but just dangling sideways off the side of the face.
You'd be surprised.
There was a lot of great, fun gore in this. But yeah, the story itself and stuff was just, silly, but you're just there for the gore and stuff. The home theater part of it, I thought was really good. I didn't think it was like, oh my God, this, that, but I mean, the 4K HDR, everything was really nice. The colors, the gore that you're getting throughout this movie, it's like, it is cringeworthy. I did find myself at times going, oh God, here we go. Yeah, that was good. Cause sometimes it happens right out of the blue.
Well, the dinner scene.
Again,
without giving too much away, but there's a dinner table scene that's pretty cringy.
So, but
the detail levels, the shots of the parades down the street, you look at the buildings on either side, and you can see all of the individual brickwork going right back into the distance. So it's razor sharp, and more than you'd expect, I think, with a movie like this. And that's really noticeable.
And I'm looking at it, like you said, going, is that Plymouth? Like, I honestly don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, it didn't it didn't stand out as anything I recognized, but I haven't been up. Again, it's been lot of years since I lived in Massachusetts.
Plymouth is a very
I've probably been to Plymouth once or twice in my life. So I mean, I don't know, but
and they make it look like this little tiny town, which it's Plymouth in Massachusetts. It's on the water. It's like all of that property is like high value property.
Right.
So like to have that small town where it looked like, I mean, it looked like a small Western town that they just paved the road. Right. To your point, Steve, like you look down the street, I was like, if that exists in Plymouth, what's the property value? Because it looked like there was nothing else around, which I've just checked. So wrong.
It's all Canada.
That's usually the case. Yeah, that's usually the case. They shoot these in Canada all the time, and they'll tell you. There was one show that I watched that was shot in Canada, and we knew it watching the show, and it actually did look like Gloucester, and that one took place in Gloucester. So they did a decent job at that, but yeah, this was like, there's no way that Plymouth, like that small town looking, doesn't look like that. And I was like, no. So I was waiting for somebody.
It's the way that people who don't come from Massachusetts think that Massachusetts looks like.
Right.
That's what it is, isn't it? It's your Hollywood idea of what Massachusetts looks like. And yet Eli Roth is a Bostonian, isn't he? He's the director of it. I think he's a Boston. Know, I mean, Glorious Bastards, he's doing some sort of Boston accent, but I thought he was an East Coaster. I might be wrong, but I thought he was. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, but it's a movie that started life as a jokey trailer in the Grindhouse movies.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's not a bad film on the back of that. You know, bearing in mind how it just kind of, you know, it was just a joke. As a trailer, I thought, it's a fun. You see what I mean by an R-rated Scooby-Doo episode? Yeah, you've got kids kind of looking around, trying who's the guy in the mask? Oh, you know.
Yeah.
But they gotten away with it too.
Exactly.
Massachusetts people.
Yeah. But I'll put that up there with like Renfield. I'm like, it was good. You know, I'm not going to be like, oh my God, you got. I mean, it's. And like to your point, like the 4K, the detail in the audio was very nice as well. I mean, because like you had some I wouldn't say jump scares, jump cringes. I would, you know, the sounds. There's a lot of you get some gross sounds.
Again,
in
that
there.
the oven is what I just you know, it sends kind of shivers up my spine. The sound of the sizzling above your head.
But the detail too of what you see sizzling. It's like they showed detail there and stuff, and then the presentation at the table was beautiful. It's like, it's all about the presentation, right?
Could you pass the cranberry sauce, please?
Yeah, exactly. Are those cranberries? It's like, I did have one question I don't want to say on it. I don't want to spoil it for people, but I'm like, I don't think that's what would happen. But yeah, I mean, it is a lot of fun. But again, I'd put it up with Renfield. I wouldn't say it's great. I'm like, oh, I can't wait to check this out again next year. I own it, but it was good. It was good. I had fun with it. So
yeah, I mean, of the two, I mean, Renfield's the one I
would revisit Renfield.
Yeah, I would too, because I like Nicolas Cage.
Before I came back to this one,
absolutely, absolutely.
Well, and I like the other one too. Nicholas Hoult, wasn't that who?
Yeah,
I like him too.
Yeah, he's very funny. He's the straight man in that movie. He's very, very funny. Yeah, no, they are both good. As I say, for different reasons. I mean, Thanksgiving's more of a horror. Renfield's more of a Vamcom, as we've discovered.
Vamcom.
So,
Vamcom.
So it's more of a comedy, Renfield, than a horror movie. I'm not sure there's any real horror in that, really.
No.
Whereas Thanksgiving's got at least got a stalk and slash element to it. Yeah. But in a tongue-in-cheek kind of way, or indeed tongue through cheek, depending on what's going on.
There you go.
But yeah. So fair play.
There we go. All right. I have one more.
What have we got?
Touch on. Here we go.
Oh. Now I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
All right. Steve, how do you say that?
Folie à Dieu, I think.
Yeah, Joker, Folie
Joker 2.
Ducks.
Joker 2.
Somehow you're following a duck around. I don't know.
Follow a ducks. Yes.
Follow a duck. Gets us to Penguin. Joker, Folie à Dieu dropped on Kaleidoscape this morning. 4K HDR, Dolby Vision, Dolby Atmos. And this has been
much maligned,
bashed and bashed. I will say I agree with the boys over at #Dork that why did they make this? Because it is very, very much like the first one. It's basically, I wouldn't say it's a remake, it's a re-envisioning of the first one. So you're not really getting too much new. It's more of a continuation, I should say. But I like it. I really did. I really liked it. Travis isn't going to like it. It's variable aspect ratio.
Yeah.
And the variable aspect ratio in it is the back and forth of what is like real and what's in his imagination. And it just goes through the entire, I mean, I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but there's really not much to spoil because it's very much like the first one. Obviously, new characters are introduced, and you get to see how that plays out. And I really enjoy it. I really did. And maybe that's I'm not saying I did not enjoy this as much as I enjoyed Joker. Like I saw when I first saw the Joker, I was like blown away at how much I liked it. I loved the depth that they went to, the depth it did of the character, how they I don't know, exposed some stuff that from a comic book that, like, I remember when this came out, John and I went back and forth about we were so afraid that they were going to make this movie and justify or make you sympathize with the character of the Joker, which you're not supposed. I mean, there is no rhyme or reason why this person should be this way. And they kind of do that in the first one a little bit, but if you know the character, I think people stepped away and were like, no, I liked it. And I didn't think they did that. And then in this one, you'll have to see it to judge for yourself whether they're actually doing that or they're showing you the crazy character. So I thought it was a lot of fun. And I say that loosely, like not fun, but I loved the variable aspect ratio. There's one when they switch and it's not a jump cut, and I really enjoyed it because you'll have to see it. You might not even pick up on it, but he turns and then all of a sudden it gradually opens up. So it's the 185 that is his imagination. Okay. And then everything, I don't even know what it is. It's not like a 235. It's actually wider. I can't remember what it was, what the aspect ratio is. It's not a huge difference, right? So it's not that bad, but you do see it, and you'll see the screen just open up. Like I mentioned that time when, which it's probably the best version of it is in Black Panther when he's first coming into Wakanda.
Yeah.
And he's driving in or flying in, and the screen just opens up. And if you're not paying attention, you just feel like you're like, whoa, you're in Wakanda now. It's like, it was really, really good. This one here, where the aspect ratios aren't that far apart, it was very gradual, but all of a sudden you're in it. And if you don't pick up, if you didn't notice, because there wasn't a jump cut, just all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, I'm in 185 now. One of the things I'd be really interested to see where that one, on that one in particular. So the new feature on from like Lumagen to the the Seymour screens that will automatically do this, that particular scene, it would work perfect. Like, I don't know on the jump cuts if you could do that, because if you set your masking at 185 and then it goes smaller and it's a jump cut, the screens aren't going to move that fast, right? But if they did the gradual one, that would be kind of cool. And it's like, because you would just, and it would look really cool and be more noticeable. Travis in the chat saying, I believe it's 1.9 and 2.2 are the two aspect ratios. So, yeah. I really enjoyed it. Travis, have you seen it yet? Maybe we can argue about that on Saturday. You know, Travis and I are going to get into it on aspect ratios. We do it every time. I haven't talked in a while. Aspect ratio.
Yeah, I am looking forward to seeing this. I've stayed well away from it. I love the first one for many reasons, and I know a lot of people don't, but I really, really like the first one. And we talked about it on the show. And I've been staying away from this. I was planning to see it in the theaters, but then all those reviews hit, and I was like, right, well, I don't want to see this with people hissing at the screen or storming out or whatever.
Yeah.
So the first time I see this will be properly in Cinema George when the 4K disc lands. And you saying it's a continuation of the first one makes me more interested to see it, because I had heard it wasn't. I'd heard it's very different to the first one. And the reasons that I had heard were ones that didn't entice me to see it. But so I'm enthused now, Deej. I'm looking forward to seeing it.
When they said that it's going to be a musical, I was like, what the? They worked it in. They really did. They worked it in to a point that I was like, all right. It's not a musical by any stretch. It has some musical parts because you have Lady Gaga, who was awesome. She was awesome in this. And anytime she sang, you were like, you're just riveted. And there are times when she's singing like under her voice, and I don't know why, but she's just like, it's not really a song she's singing. She's just singing like in reality, like sing, and you're just like,
perhaps give us a song, Deej. Do an impression. Tell us.
No,
give us a better idea.
You'll have to wait. I don't want to spoil it for you, because I could nail it, right? And then it'll just ruin the movie for you. But they really did work it in to the movie. They made it part of the movie. They made it part of the story. And it didn't bother me at all. And I actually enjoyed it because the sound was so good. It was the audio, the Atmos in this. It's not one that you're going to be like, oh, the sweeps in this. But when they get into the music and stuff, it does fill the room. There's a particular number where she's playing like a piano and stuff. And it's really, really well done. Really well done. Very entertaining. And it adds to me, it added to the story, but it adds to the entertainment of the movie too. Because I feel like if they didn't do that, you would definitely be like, well, it's just the same thing, right? You'd be like, it's the same thing as the first one, where this added a different flair to it, which that's kind of what Joker is. He's about flair. He's about that. He's like over the top. That's the character, right? There's no rhyme or reason to what he's doing, but then they did it. It's like they added something to the story that, why would you do that? Well, that's kind of Joker. Why did he do that? Like, why? Why does he exist? So I liked the picture quality. I found that I felt maybe I was trying to read into it, because as the movie went on, I found that I was wrong, but I felt like that when they went to his imagination, it was more vibrant. I was like, oh my God, maybe it was just the scenes they were choosing. They just lent themselves to more vibrancy. Like, it just looked brighter. The blacks looked deeper. Everything looked great. And then they went back to the smaller aspect ratio, and you're like, oh, okay, it's a little bit more subdued. I felt like there was some, like, maybe they were doing that, but as the movie played on, I started to see some vibrancy in the reality of it. And it was just that, I think it was just a coincidence, but judge for yourself. It's like, but it pulled me into that stuff, pulled me into the movie, and actually made me like, it was like, I was riveted. I'm not saying it, like I said, I'm not saying it's the greatest movie or anything like that. It probably didn't need to be made. But I did enjoy it. I really enjoyed it. So, and the 4K, like I said, 4K definitely enhanced it. And so did the audio, especially with her singing and all the singing, even Joaquin Phoenix's singing, if that was really him, whatever they were doing. Because I know he has. Yeah,
he was. He was in a band. Yeah, he
sings. He did.
He is singing in it.
Too.
Yeah. But he is. So, they are singing in it. They did what they did with Les Miserables. So they had earpieces in. It was being played on set, the music, and they were singing live. So the audio was captured live.
Oh wow!
But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I do really want to see it, but I'm happy to wait. I don't wonder. I'm curious as to whether we'll get it before Christmas. I wonder whether, bearing in mind they've got to try and recoup $200 million, they might try and rush it in before the holidays, and so people can buy. Really want to spend the holidays following a duck. In which case, then it'll be great. So I hope they do, because I do really, really want to see it. Not enough to go to the theaters, but I do really want to see it. So hopefully.
Yeah, there's one, now that you
2022.
say that, like they had earpieces in singing, it's like there's one particular scene well, after you've seen it, I'll talk to you about, because I like thinking of scenes too, like in reality, not just the movie that you see that's produced, but like in reality, what was it like on the set that day when they were doing the scene and he's singing and in this room, and what environment he was in. And to your point, like he was literally singing in that room with an earpiece in. When you see the scene, you'll know what I'm talking about, but it's really cool to think. And it's like, they captured that live. It's like, it was, that I found entertaining too. But then it does play to the story as well. So, but yeah, and I thought, just like the first one, I want to watch it again, because there's stuff that happens at the beginning that I haven't, that might have something to do with the end, like things I was noticing, like the clarity of some things, the costumes. I did notice costumes changes between reality and fiction, or and being like, oh, okay. I did notice a couple of those, and that would be more fun on a second viewing. That if I noticed a couple of them in the first viewing, definitely on second viewing, you'd be like, oh yeah, look at, he's doing this, he's doing that. So I thought that was really cool. So yeah, to each his own. So maybe Rich and Ryan and I'll argue about that. I know we're going to argue about it on Saturday, because they hated it. They hated it.
Well, it's clearly a very idiosyncratic film, isn't it? I mean, Tarantino, is an interview come out today where he is saying, like, he can't believe it got made, and saying he loved it. And he's saying the movie is the Joker itself. It's a giant FU to Hollywood. It's an FU to the studios. It's an FU if you've got stock in DC. It's an FU to the audience. It is what it is, and it doesn't care. And he's saying, and he loved it for that very reason. Yeah. So okay, you might say that if you haven't spent $200 million on it, you've got that freedom to say FU. But if you're the one signing the checks, you might not be happy.
The first one did so well. Maybe they did, but I'll give, and maybe we'll talk about it on Saturday. I'm sure we will. Ryan Davey said it on #Dork. I think I mentioned it here, but this entire thing, I'd never heard the rumor. I'd never heard this theory until he said it. And it was like, this entire movie was an FU to the people that thought, like, had sympathy for Joker after the first one. Right. And it was like, they made this movie to be like, no, like, F you to those people. We're going to make this movie for them or whatever. And I kind of liked that idea too, but I didn't necessarily feel that. So I'd like to, actually get him in here and grill him, and so he, not in a bad way, but like, so he could elaborate on that a little bit more. But yeah.
Grill him not in a Thanksgiving sense.
No,
grill him in a
maybe, who knows, But yeah, it's like I said, I really enjoyed it. Maybe it's the environment, I don't know, but the Joker, both these, obviously the first one's the best one. But I can't, and that's the other thing too. My expectations were probably lowered so much that maybe if I'd seen this opening day, I might have walked out with the same opinions and been like, what the heck? But my opinions were lowered so much that I was like, you know what? I bought it day one when it first came out in the theaters. Kaleidoscape had it up for sale, and I was like, I pre-purchased it. So just happened to look yesterday, and I was like, oh, it's dropping this morning. So I was like, all right. So I got to check it out. And
how long is the film, Dave?
What's that?
How long is it? Is it 2 hours plus?
2:18.
Okay, all right. So not as long as the other one, I don't think. It was 2.5, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's and again, I can't say that it like boogied like right along like Oppenheimer did. Like Oppenheimer's 3 hours, and I felt like at the end of that, you're like, that was 3 hours. It flew by. This one was 2:18. Maybe felt like a little bit long. Maybe felt like 2.5. But I was entertained the whole time. The whole time. So yeah, it didn't bother me at all. And it wasn't like looking at my time like, oh my God, when's this going to be over? Not once, because I was really kind of, not on the edge of my seat, but just paying attention to everything, because that's kind of what this character does, right? Like everything means something in these movies. And that's what kind of grabbed me. And you know how
I'm
I'm a
looking
sucker
forward
for
to it.
those details. So.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, how about you, John? Is it one you're going to want to see?
Well, I was the same as you. Like I was a bit apprehensive when I, first heard about it. But I was definitely going to go see it in the theaters, and then of course, same reason you didn't go, I didn't go.
Yeah.
I'll wait, and I will probably actually wait until I catch it streaming, and then if I like it enough, I'll buy the. I won't run right out and buy the disc because I don't know if I will like it.
I'll be interested to see if the stream has the variable aspect ratio.
Oh yeah,
and if they don't, what do they shoot
it'll be
it
on Max, right? And I don't even have upgraded Max, so I don't know what it'll be.
It's got to be available digitally somewhere now, like for rent or something.
I'm sure it is, but if I'm going to pay $20 to rent it, I'll wait and buy it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because even I won't do that
now digitally
too. Yeah, because even I won't. Unlike with Maverick and the dial-up density. Which I bought I can't say it any other way, I bought the digital one as soon as it was available. So I just had to see it. This one, I will wait for 4K proper rather than stream it, as much as I really do want to see it. And do you think this will get reappraised as this comes out and there's some distance from the controversy of the theatrical release? Will there be a reappraisal of this, do you think, based on having seen it? Or do you think it is what it is?
Maybe, because I think you might be right, because it might get new life because more people see it. And when you come in with that lower expectation, you might actually, you know what I mean? Like, exactly. Like, I don't know. Like I said, it's not the greatest movie in the world, but at the same time, my expectations were lowered. And then I come in and I'm looking, I'm not saying I'm looking for positivity, but I'm like, I'm trying to give it a fair shot. And I enjoyed it from the very beginning. So maybe because people were like, all right, I'll give it a try. And then they're like, it ain't that bad. And which isn't a raving review. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I liked it. I'm not saying it wasn't that bad. I'm saying, no, I liked it. And I'll go toe to toe with people that hated it. And that's fun. There's nothing wrong with that. But it might get new life. I don't know. I don't know. When they said we could all agree the first one, John and I said we didn't want that one made. And here I am about to say, I don't want a third one, but if they do, I'll see it.
There's not going to be a third one. I think of that we can pretty much guarantee there's not going to be a third one. So we can all agree then, in summary, Renfield movie of the week. Right, fine. Yeah. Okay.
It's definitely a show title.
Yeah,
well, I guess it is
quick
now,
muted,
but
John.
This is literally my movie of the week. I would say this was my favorite movie so far this week. Well, Underworld, I mean, come on. Come on. All right. That will, there we go. Boop. There we go. That will do it for this week. And I'm late. I'm 17 minutes late for the chat, which only goes for the after show. Hopefully people are still sitting here and they're not sitting there waiting.
Right.
But they know where I am, buffet. At least. At least they could see me. Yeah. So, the Patreon after chat, I can only go to 8:00 today because I am skating tonight. So we will get out of here. But Steve with all the energy this week because he's got an hour leeway.
It's only 11:17 p.m.
Exactly. Exactly. Steve's going to go do another show after this.
Yeah.
Steve, you could join us in the chat.
Oh man, I'm working tomorrow.
Oh, sorry. See?
No, I'm kidding. I am shattered, so it's been a very long week. So I'm glad of the extra time. So I'm going to get a little bit more sleep because I've got another long day tomorrow. But I will drop into that. I am intending to do that at some point, but not tonight.
All right. Yeah, exactly. But let's wind up here with the what's coming this Saturday. Saturday we are doing 25 hours of home theater for Ryan Davies' Movember. Live show tomorrow night starting at 7 p.m. Me and Todd will reminisce on how we came up with this cockamamie idea. Yes, I said cockamamie. And so we'll talk about that tomorrow night. So join us. It'll probably go about an hour tomorrow night, 7 to 8, something like that. Just going over how this came up, what we're gonna do, and Todd and I catching up. And so that's tomorrow night, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. So Wednesday, the October 30th, if you listen to this in the future. And then November 2nd, 6 a.m., Todd and I kick it off, 6 a.m. Saturday morning for 25 hours of home theater. If you want to be involved, you're a listener, you want to come on, you've done a Takeover Tuesday. If you've never been on the show and you want to jump in on a 25-hour podcast, jump in. Just email me, dj@brightsidehometheater.com, and we'll get everything scheduled up. So looking forward to that. And bring your ideas, because I'm not bringing ideas. I'm ripping off everybody else, because there's going to be a lot of talking going on. I gotta warm up my voice. Me. There you go, Steve.
We're going to have him singing by the end of it.
No, you will not. Well, maybe.
Yeah.
We didn't know what we're going to get out of Brett, but we got that. So, but yeah. All right. That should do it for this week. Anything else, guys?
Nope. No, I think we're done.
No. All righty. Well, until tomorrow or until this weekend, you know what you got to do.
Go push play.
What he said
is right.
Hey, Fred.
This has been a Hey Fred production with theme music by Jeff Bernhardt and Throne Vault Productions.